Welcome back, everyone. Will the wall ever get built? According to new reporting tonight from Jonathan Swan of Axios, the president has accepted and told Republican leaders he's not going to get the votes to pay for it before the midterm elections. Of course, that hasn't stopped the president tweeting, including the famous words, "Finish the wall." Tommy, I mean, how about start the wall?
Well, the wall is being started, but we need far more work on it. As
Right.
you know, I spent some time at the border, specifically in Tucson, Nogales area. We need a wall. What we have now is not cutting it. But I think to accept defeat on this is a mistake. I think that you should put it up and you should see which Republicans really believe in fixing our immigration system, really believe in border enforcement, and which ones do not. Because for too long, we've had too many Republicans who campaign on border security, but then when it comes right down to it, where do they go?
That's exactly right. Why won't they have this? I just don't understand what's holding that back.
Because they're vulnerable. They don't want to do it before the midterms because that makes some of these candidates vulnerable. I say make them vulnerable. Let's see where they stand on this issue. That's what the American people voted for in 2016. That's what we're going to vote again on in the midterms, and we should see which ones are truly about border enforcement.
I so agree with you, and this is exactly the kind of thing that drives people crazy, is like incredibly simple, clear promises, they're not delivered.
Well, as a country, we spend over $120 billion every year, so we can build a lot of walls if we use that money wisely, and that's why we need to vote for people like myself who are actually going to vote and fight for the president and the administration and the country, because at the end of the day, we got to fight for the American people. The American people voted for this guy to get elected. We want a wall. We want to protect the American people, and we don't want this open border any longer.
So you're both agreeing that actually some work has begun. The president mentioned
the wall is being built right now.
Okay, tell us about that. What exactly is happening?
Well, we started the wall already with the money that the president was able to get, but the Congress...
Where? Just describe what I mean...
Well, the president already talked about it. We've been there. We've been there to the wall. The wall is being built right now, but we don't have a long wall that's protecting the American country, so we need to work from this point on. It won't happen before November. It's not going to happen, but maybe next year. As soon as possible, we need this wall.
Well, that's why you've got to vote for the right people. That is true, isn't it?
Of course, and we need to hold them to their word, because I see all of these Republican candidates going on all the networks, including ours, and talking about how they believe in border security and border enforcement. Then guess what happens? They get elected and they're safe, and they no longer have to worry about it anymore. I think the American people are fed up with it. Democrats, Republicans, we should all be fed up with it.
I actually genuinely don't understand the mentality of opposing it. I mean, what's going on that they don't...
Well, open borders, more programs for
but not for
California.
Republicans. I mean, you can't... It's the Republicans.
But they're owned. They're owned by private interests, and they're owned by these lobbyists who own them for the rest of their lives. They're not working for the American people. This November, decide who you're going to vote for. Get to know your candidate really well. Go to the office, shake his hand or her hand, and make sure you understand who they are as people.
This actually makes a really important point, that actually the president needs this kind of populist movement behind him, because he's working with a leftover Republican establishment that doesn't really agree with him.
No, and they're a huge part of the problem, because this president keeps his promises, as we've seen, as much as he can, but he can't do it alone. But then we've got him saying, all right, I know I'm not going to get my wall. As Ann Coulter has said many times, we're still waiting for the wall. I think it's a mistake for President Trump not to push for funding for it. We should see in the midterm elections who's really going to turn out for the American people.